listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya.
All right, good morning to everybody. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So I want to talk some Jimbo this morning. He's been a hot topic to talk about. Somehow he's become polarizing. And yes, this is a coach who responded to other coaches. But now he's got a bigger target on his back for some reason because the national media doesn't like that he's come after them. So we'll talk about that. But we do need to begin with some college hoops, talk some Aggie men's basketball. And if I were to tell you this, that A&M took on Missouri this past weekend. If I were to tell you that A&M hit 46% of their threes, sounds good, check, all right, I like the direction we're going. 71% of their free throws, not bad for this team, not great, but that's a nice day at the free throw line for this team. Had more offensive rebounds than Missouri. Okay, check. Oh, yeah. They won the turnover margin by 7. Oh, my gosh, this team's going to crush Missouri. The Aggies only had 6 turnovers, and Hayden Hefner hit 5 threes. If I just told you that without looking at the box score, you know where I'm going with this. It's a fake game. You would say that, oh, yeah, the Aggies won. They beat Missouri at home at Reed Arena with all those numbers. But somehow they lost their 6th straight game, and this one at home to, I think, a bad Missouri team, a game where they never fully got going. And I'm trying to figure out this A&M team because they are built on defense. And while they were able to force turnovers, Missouri was able to shoot the ball very well. 56% of their shots were made. Too many easy baskets in this one. A&M could not make the winning plays down the stretch, including, yes, a late free throw, which cost them. Not the same team that we saw early in the losing streak. Now, and we kind of noticed it a couple games back, they're believing who they are, I feel like. They never really got going. And with that, we begin the Go Hour with my buddy, Olin Buchanan. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
OB, you heard my little intro, the check marks. Mm-hmm. If I tell you all those things, do you think they win the game?
Until you get to that 56%, because you're not going to beat many teams, allowing them to shoot 56%. I think that comes back to Missouri was bigger inside. Kobe Brown was a dominant player inside, had 21 points. And quite frankly, they had trouble in the paint against a bigger Missouri team.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I don't know, man. I'm watching this game. I'm there at Reed Arena with you, and I see. I never thought they were going. Yes, there were times where they had a little lead, and yes, they were. But I never felt like A&M had that game. There was the game against LSU, win or lose. I felt like that they had that game. They lost it, but they had that game. South Carolina, midway through the second half, they were out. I felt like this game felt that way a lot, but yet they kept on staying close.
Well, it was a very competitive, entertaining basketball game, no doubt about that. And they got down at halftime and was always you were always waiting for that big run that would put A&M in control, and it just never came. But, it was – they were there. I'd have to check my notes, but it seemed like they had a lead with about 5 minutes to go. And then I think it was, I can't remember if it was a 3-pointer or something, but Missouri took the lead. I think it was the basket was 4:03, and then A&M had trouble scoring in the last 4 minutes. And, there you go. Now, they did score, but they just didn't score enough. And then, Quentin Jackson gets fouled. Smart play by Missouri because he had made a steal, and he's going full speed, and he's going to outrun the Missouri guys to the basket and probably get a dunk, and it's going to be tied. And a guy reaches up and fouls him, and he's an 84% free throw shooter, and he's going 1-1 with a chance to tie, and he misses the first. And that's it.
He is so obviously it hurts that he missed that free throw. I heard Buzz talk about he would choose him to shoot free throws all the time, right? I mean, he's the one that the players pick in practice at the end of practice for games and whatnot. I will say this: I almost feel like we've underappreciated Q this year. because everybody's thinking about the next guy. Is it going to be Henry Coleman? Henry Coleman dominated this game, 16 points, 6 rebounds. He didn't in this past game, by the way, but just using him as an example. Or Wade Taylor. But the most consistent best player this season has been Q. He's consistent every night. You know what you're going to get from him. He ignites this team. He had that great dunk that really lit the arena. But unfortunately, he gets lost in sometimes the talk. And I would say the same thing about Boots in a way. But Q's been here the longest and understands, what A&M is all about from a history standpoint. He's been here. He's fought with this team. I think he is, if not their best player, their most consistent / best player.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think he's a good shooter. I don't think he's a great shooter, but he's an exciting player. And if you can get him in the open court, he's fast. He jumps high. He's exciting. He can throw. He's gets the big dunk that brings everybody to their feet. He is the leading scorer,
right?
But Quentin is kind of like this whole team. Is that there's good. He's really good. But, it's just, again, if I have to have the basket, if I have to have it, is he that guy that you just know he's going to make it?
Well, this team doesn't have that
right.
guy. Yeah, this team just doesn't have that.
And that came out. I mean, I would have lost money at the end of that game because I would have bet on Quentin Jackson. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, he would have made those shots.
I haven't given this comment I'm about to make a lot of thought, but I feel like A&M's got a lot of third players, right? So what I mean by that, let me try to think of a good example.
What you mean by that.
But like the third option on a team, right? Like Q on a really good team would maybe, on certain nights he's second and first option, but he's like your third option. Henry Coleman is like your second or third option. Real winning teams have that player. They're not sprinkled throughout your entire roster, third guys that aren't go-to scorers.
Kobe Brown was once signed with A&M, and they didn't keep him because, Buzz had not recruited him and didn't know him.
Right.
So, hey, look, I'm going to keep the guys that I recruited. I understand that. But if you had him on this team, it would change everything because you would have that second inside option, a big guy, another 6'8" guy with I think even more mass than Henry Coleman.
Yeah.
And you would have all, that. They're a reliable point guard and another inside presence away from being really good.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you want to talk about Aggie basketball or Jimbo, I kind of led with him a little bit, and we'll certainly give some time to Jimbo because there's a lot of articles about him that I've been seeing pop out there, and a lot of hot sports takes around on sports radio around the country and whatnot. So we'll get into that. But if you want to be a part of the conversation, call us up on the A&B text line. Well, that's where you text us. A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank. Good Texas Banking, the website, anb.com, or you can call us on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. Let's go around the room and say hello to the people. Dalton Hughes, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, guys. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
When I got in the box, I think the most interesting thing about this game, Olin, they only rebounded the ball 21 times.
Well, when your opponent is shooting, are you talking about A&M only?
A&M, yeah.
Yeah, when your opponent is shooting 56%.
And there you go. And that was the other thing I noticed. For the second straight game, they allowed their opponent to shoot over 50%.
This team was built on defense. That's not a defensive performance.
But again, most of that was just because Missouri was getting it inside.
Exactly.
And A&M could not contend with them inside because they were just bigger and stronger.
And the
inside.
traps weren't working. They just weren't. Missouri was able to get the ball out and find the ball, get it into the paint.
Right.
What else is going on with you, Dalton?
Not a whole lot.
All right, that was good. Good talk. Appreciate the conversation. Let's go now to the News and Social Center. Who do we got? Eric? Eric Asarez is in there. Good morning to you, Eric.
Top of the morning, David. Obi, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Can you say top of the morning to you, mate?
Like, do you want me to use an accent?
Yeah, use an accent for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to butcher this
yeah,
so
that's
bad.
the best part of it.
Top of the morning to you, mate. I don't know. That's the best
That's
I can
good.
do.
Wasn't bad.
That's pretty good. Can you do the entire hit in that accent?
Oh,
What accent
No
is
shot.
that?
I don't even know.
Because top of the morning is kind of an Irish saying, but mate is more Australian.
Yeah, I just wanted to mix the two worlds.
And they're both kind of derived from England, and he's Hispanic.
without a voice crack, it's probably not possible. Not this morning.
What's going on in the news in the social world?
Well, let's talk Aggie hoots first. Texas A&M's men's basketball continues to struggle against SEC competition, losing their sixth straight game this past Saturday against Missouri. Y'all tuned on it well. The Aggie men suffered a 70-66 loss at home, led by Hayden Hefner and Quentin Jackson as the two both leading scorers with 17 points. Wade Taylor's first start with the Aggies scored 6, and Henry Coleman's third consecutive game with double figures with 13 points. He also got the most action with 33 minutes as well. Aggies will look to rebound tomorrow night right here at home against number 25 ranked LSU. Tip-off at 6 p.m. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a way to stop that losing streak. Beat the team that has beat you 9 straight times, a top 25 team, and a team that just has had A&M's number in multiple sports in this current calendar year.
Well, could the difference in A&M's favor be the name that Eric just mentioned, Hayden Hefner?
Could it be the difference? You needed somebody else too.
Well, that's what I mean. He's the somebody else. Where did this guy come from?
You know what? I actually had been thinking about him just because he has the reputation of being able to hit the 3 ball, and this team needs somebody to hit the 3 ball.
How many threes had he had?
None. Barely. Barely. Yeah.
So where's the reputation?
I'm just saying that he is known as a shooter, but he hasn't done it here at A&M.
Right, and he's been here for a season and a half. He's barely played. His best game, he had 10 points against Dallas Christian, basically a glorified high school team. He had 6 field goals, 5 of them being from three-point range in that game. He had 7 the whole season before that. The guy comes on, and you're like, where's this been? Is this guy going to emerge as a bona fide outside shooting threat? That I've always said A&M just needs that guy that if he's wide open, I'm not even talking about creating a shot. I'm just talking if you have that spot-up jumper that if you move the ball around and the defense on the other side is just lazy and you got a guy that has that 2 seconds or second just to kind of line it up that he's going to make it or you're going to be shocked if he doesn't. And A&M hadn't had that. And this guy's bombing things. He's hitting fadeaway threes in the corner and nailing it. And you're like, oh, my gosh. I don't expect him to go out and hit 5 threes a night. But do they now have another option, a guy that you can actually look at and think this guy's going to be a bona fide three-point threat? And, oh, by the way, he went out and drove and dished for layups and had a steal for a dunk.
Right. I'm watching some of his highlights on Huddle as you're speaking, trying to see. And a lot of them have not been – I'm just watching it on my computer. A lot of it hasn't been updated since 2016. But he showed the ability to take it to the hole, ability to shoot from the outside in high school. Nederland, Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
See, I almost refuse to believe that he could be a really good basketball player because he's from the same place that Brian Broniger's from.
This is a good point.
What good can come from Nederland if Broniger's from there? And yet he in one afternoon raised the reputation of Nederland.
Nederland in the house. All right, we'll continue talking some Aggie hoops. I got some other thoughts I want to get into. But right now, let's talk about the Association of Former Students. They've been doing it for such a long time, and hopefully you can be a part of it. Over 140 years, your financial gifts have empowered the Association of Former Students, that Aggie network, to be here, to be there, to be everywhere. And they've been doing it for so many different people. Hopefully you can be a part of it. Like I've told you guys a couple times on this show, I did it. I was a Century Club member for a few years out of college, and then I just kind of lost touch with it, just didn't renew one year when we moved. I don't know what move it was, but we've moved 14 times, 16 times in my career. And, so we lost touch with it. And then as we were moving back, I was like, man, where has this been? Where has it been? And I like the ability to help others out there. I know you do too, because we're Aggies, especially helping out other Aggies all around the country and all around the world, and that's what the association's been doing for about $100 a year, $9 a month. You'll get the plaque, the decal, and the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies out there. They need your donations, so help them out right now. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved, make a gift, visit AggieNetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Bryan College Station Chamber of Commerce is hosting a local candidates forum on Wednesday from 6 to 8 at the Brazos Center. If you can't attend in person, you can listen to it on 1620 94.5 WTAW or stream it at RadioAggieland.com. Kids ages 5 to 16 can sign up to play baseball at BryanNationalLittleLeague.com. The deadline to sign up is Friday, February 11th. The Bryan Animal Center is hosting a free microchip and rabies vaccination event on Saturday, February 12th from 8 a.m. to noon at Tiffany Park. Pets must reside in the city limits of Bryan. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
This Valentine's Day, say I love you with a gift from the Chocolate Gallery. Gourmet chocolates and pastries made in the heart of downtown Bryan. The Chocolate Gallery is taking pre-orders now for their decadent chocolate-covered strawberries, uniquely flavored chocolate truffles and bonbons, and Valentine iced sugar cookies. Valentine's goodies are only available by pre-order through February 12th. Don't miss your chance to give the best chocolates in the Brazos Valley. Pre-order now at shop.bcschocolategallery.com. That's shop.bcschocolategallery.com.
Grab your first cup of coffee weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, right here on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus, online at RadioAggieland.com. WC Tractor, your local award-winning Kubota in New Holland. Do you have questions? Look them up online at WCTractor.com. That's WCTractor.com. You can also call them at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
It's our final Lunch with Louie this Friday at the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln. You stop by between 11 and 2, get a free lunch from Hungry Howie's, guaranteed to win a great prize, and, well, you could say hi to me or Bryce Jones. It's Lunch with Louie, the final one, at the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln this Friday from 11 to 2. Stop by for a free lunch from Hungry Howie's, win a great prize, stop by and say hi. It's Lunch with Louie this Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Segment number 2, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. One of your favorites?
David Gardner's? Oh, you mean that song?
Oh, I know David Gardner's one of your favorites, yeah. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, by the way.
Was that a Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
I believe it was as well.
Yeah.
I come to you because sometimes I think I know.
Well, I was actually reading something, so I wasn't paying as much attention, and then I had to get in on the very end.
So let me set the agenda for the remainder of the show. We're going to have Malcolm Kennedy here in studio, relive some of those great moments there in Aggie football history. 9:05, he'll join us. Tom Hart, 9:35. Mike Lucas will do the basketball hour with us at 10 o'clock, and Buzz Williams at 10:35. And, of course, we can get to your phone calls on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. Just don't curse on the show, please. Kids are getting to school, I think. You can text us as well on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. OB, you joined a gym this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at a gym before. In fact, I just canceled one to join because the one that I canceled is cheaper than the one I joined, but not so much
Because you got to drive to it, right?
Because I got to drive through.
Right.
So now it's actually more economical to pay $25 at one place instead of $10 at the other, because with gas the way it is, I'll come out ahead by just going to the place that's close to the home.
Right. So I one thing I'll tell you about the gym you're going to, because I know it.
Well, I used to work out there.
You're in trouble because I work out there.
Oh, yeah.
And, when I see bad form, I'm that guy who fixes form. I don't care. I don't care if you're old, skinny, fat, whatever. I'm
all of the above.
Well, I don't know if
I'm the one guy who can be fat and skinny at the same time.
At the same time?
I really am.
We call that skinny fat.
Okay. I'm that. I'm kind of like, if you took an egg, I've got a bunch of eggs here because I'm trying to eat better. If you took an egg and held it up and with the oval part and put like two toothpicks.
That would be
in
you?
the bottom. That'd be me. It'd be these two toothpick legs in the fat part of the egg.
Well, are you still planning on doing the Tough Mudder?
Well, I'm trying to.
Okay.
If I don't die. I heard you telling Broniger that you don't think I'd make it.
No,
I heard you say
what
it.
I think I
know
said
exactly
was,
what you
I
said.
don't want you to die.
No,
I don't think you're going to do it.
No, that's exactly what you said. I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't think you're going to do it. And I don't want to be responsible for, like I told you before the show, because you're my buddy. Talk to your doctor. I want you to do it, but like I only know how to do things 100 miles an hour, and I'm really slow. So that 100 miles an hour is more like a mile an hour. But I just want you to talk to your doctor, and let's go. Let's go. Go time. We got a month and a half, I think.
Dr. Hauser, my doctor, who's a big TexAgs.
Doogie Howser is your doctor?
No, not Kai.
Oh, sorry.
Kai Hauser. And he owns his own fitness studio on top of that. And the guy's
jacked.
Great shape. And he's always trying to get me to come work out at his fitness center.
Yeah.
But that'd probably require me getting up at 5:30
in the morning. Yeah.
That's not happening. We talk about my fitness or lack thereof because we used to work out together.
Okay.
Oh, not together, at the same place.
Yep.
So I think he understands that I'm out of shape. I got grossly out of shape in the whole COVID thing.
Hey, here's a non-fitness related item, and one that's gonna, embarrass me. People were not gonna be surprised. I went shooting for the first time this week. I went to the shooting range with my buddy Philip. I was so anxious and anxiety and nervous. I didn't realize, I thought it'd be it was like a nerve-wracking experience for me. It was weird. Yeah. The first 20 minutes, I had him put the bullets in and all that. I'm learning because, that's a skill that I think I need to know, and I would like to partake in, I just want to be more comfortable around it. And I realized, man, I really am not comfortable around guns, even at a shooting range with a guy ex-military who was teaching me everything. But by the end of it, I felt much more comfortable. But
what were you shooting?
Right there on Texas
Pistols
Avenue.
or rifles?
I believe we shot a 9mm and a 40. Okay.
My wife loves to shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, she has guns. I don't have guns. My wife has.
Your wife has the guns.
Yeah, plenty of them.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, I'm becoming part of the Plenty family as well, just to arm my family and be. But it's something I'd never had done, and I don't know why I never did. But it was scary / great. I enjoyed it.
I told Irma last week. I said, and this is a true conversation, and I hope she's listening. I said, I think I might want to go buy an AK-47, and she said to me, I have never been more turned on by you than I am right now. And I believed it.
That was good. And look at the pistachios. Look at that.
Well, pistachio eggs, I got a lot of protein.
Where's your carbs?
Fat. Huh?
Where's your carbs?
I'm going to try to not bring in too many carbs. I'm going to try to limit them.
Okay.
Going to be like Ryan Broniger, the meat man.
The meat man?
Who only ate meat.
Carnivore diet man?
That's all he ate for a long time.
Yeah. No, it can work.
I'm going to have carbs. I'm just not going to have.
You definitely need them. Maybe not as much late in the day, especially if you're working out. You definitely want to have some carbs.
But I'll eat oatmeal for breakfast. Maybe.
Love oatmeal. Yeah. Every morning I have it. All right, let's talk some hoops here in the last couple of minutes of this segment. So mentally, I have felt like it's like they believed who they were leading into that Kentucky game, and even during that Kentucky game, like we can beat anybody. This is not an original take. We've talked about it. Like we saw it in the games afterwards. We're like, we can beat these teams. We can beat Arkansas, even if we're down 20-4, or even if. But again, when you lose down the stretch a lot, you start realizing maybe we're not as good. And I don't know what they're thinking, but mentally, that's not the same basketball team that I saw in the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and just 2.5 weeks ago.
I disagree.
Okay.
See, I think, with the exception of the South Carolina game, which was, I think we're conditioned to think Missouri is just a collection of stiffs because of the record. And yet, Missouri took Auburn to 1 point. Missouri lost at Florida by 1 point. Didn't Missouri beat Alabama?
That sounds right. And Georgia almost beat.
Or maybe it was Georgia that beat Alabama. Missouri almost beat. Missouri is one of those, is a dangerous team. They almost beat out A&M up there. Missouri is not as. But
here's my problem with that, OB. And not to argue with you too much, but there's a lot of those teams in the SEC.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, yeah, there's something about A&M. They haven't been able to close, but they're not a bad basketball team. They're just, are they a good basketball team? No, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that they're this team that where what they're actually kind of what I thought they were going to be. In that, I know this is going to sound stupid. They're kind of like what I thought they were going to be, in that because we don't know what they are. From night to night.
Yeah.
They are capable of doing just about anything from night to night. And when you keep getting that close, you figure it may be tomorrow night that they finally break through. They are good enough to go out and play every team and have a legitimate chance to win. Now, that's not what you pay Buzz for.
No.
You pay him to win those games. But they are a team that gets everything out of the ability they have. They are right at this point lacking at point guard, and they're just not big enough. And they have, and you don't have to have a, Shaq out there.
Sure.
But they sure could use a Nebo, and they've not had the just that go-to guy. I mean, you don't want to overemphasize it, but it's true.
They're not going to finish last in the SEC, and
they're going to still. I still believe they're going to win a game or two that you don't think they're going to win.
I hope so, because we saw that this team can do that. But I guess my commentary was more of where they are right now mentally, because when you start losing these games a lot, like the Tennessee game, did they have a chance to win that game? Yeah, I guess, because they came within a score with 6 minutes left. But also when it counted, they went on a 16-2 run, right? Mm-hmm. The Missouri game, yeah, they made it interesting at the very end. But again, when you consistently are losing, and again, the SEC to me is built with a bunch of those types of teams. Mm-hmm. And if you're losing to those bunch of teams, then maybe you're inferior to those teams at this state of the season. Stage.
I think that A&M is that team that, like I said, there's a lot of things that they don't have that they need to be a really good team. But I think that they get, usually, no team is great every night, but they get a tremendous effort, and they get almost everything they've got out of their ability, night in and night out. And so, which is what we thought they would be. I don't think we ever went in thinking, okay, these guys are going to light up everybody every night.
Yep.
So I saw someone on our board say, well, we should just give up on basketball and start. These guys, they may not be winning right now. They're stuck in a 6-game losing streak. I think Buzz pointed out, he was right. They've lost 8 games, and six of them have been 2-possession games.
Yep.
These guys haven't given up. They go out and play hard.
They do play hard.
And are competitive. And for that reason alone, the fact that they just go after you, and maybe at the end, some things haven't gone their way. They've missed some big shots. They've missed some free throws. For that reason alone, to think, all right, these guys, it's like Eric over there is a distance guy.
Right.
He may not be winning the race, but in the last 100 yards, let's say it's one thing if he decides to walk it. It's another thing if he's given everything he's got to try to make up that last 100. If he comes up short, I can respect that he is giving it everything he's got to get to the end. And eventually there's going to be that race where he's giving it everything he's got and he's going to pass that guy.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not every week, but and as the basketball team, not every game, but I still think that there's going to be that game or two. I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture here. I'm just trying to paint a realistic picture. These guys, they're not a bad basketball team.
No, they're just in a bad funk right now. It's just a funk, and
they're not a good basketball team. They're not a bad basketball team. They're at that maybe tipping point where they could go either way, but they definitely haven't gotten to a point where they're just mailing it in where they could become a bad basketball team.
We're way late for a break.
Sorry.
That's all right. You were defending our guys.
No,
out
I
there
just
playing hard.
I just look at it, call it the way I see it.
We'll call. We'll get to the A&B text line. There's a bunch of text messages to get to, and we'll talk a little Jimbo when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Who cares if he's
You never
wearing the
walked those last
medium
100.
and tight pants? 3, 2, 1, go. It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuño on the Zone.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kitty Castle, Kinder Music, Southwood Learning Center, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Texas. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Texas University Interscholastic League and the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association.
ESPN Radio Super Week 2022 is here. All the latest news and information from the Rams and Bengals.
He may play in Cincinnati, but that kid is Broadway Joe.
Plus, we're breaking down the game with the best analysts.
Sacked him 9 times. If they get anywhere close to that, Cool Joe will become Hot Joe.
And the biggest names in sports.
Ron Rivera, the coach of the now Washington Commanders.
Barry Sanders right now.
Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver Tim Brown.
Super Week 2022. All week on ESPN Radio.
It's my jam right here, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got a lot of text messages out here.
So Tracy Lawrence is your jam?
Tracy Lawrence, yeah.
I think that's Tracy Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence's cousin, yeah. Big fan of the Martin and Tracy
I did
Lawrence.
not know you knew that, if they were related.
Dude, didn't they do a buddy cop movie together too?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Travis and Abilene sends in, I think we can all agree that this team isn't lazy just by their defensive effort, but there's always about 5 or 6 possessions a game where they torpedo their chances to win the game through lazy passes and get picked off, leading to a breakaway, get caught watching the ball, and leave a guy wide open to fail to box out on the defensive glass or have a bad night at the foul line. The difference between them having a good and great team is eliminating these mental lapses. Pretty good thoughts right there.
Yeah.
Dell and Tabor, hang on to Buzz. While the Aggie basketball team is not where I want it to be, I do think we have a good coach. My hope is we keep him long enough to get the players he wants. Recruiting for college basketball starts when the kids are still playing AAU. Chase in Houston says we need to get David out there for a hunt. I'm not going that far, buddy. Not going that far. A 979 says no leader on the floor. And Dan76 says, welcome back to Tower PTOB. David, now all we need to do is get you a set of Lucchese boots since now we've got you.
Oh, those are nice.
Firing
Lucchese's, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are nice, well-made boots.
Didn't Billy get some recently? I think he did.
Probably.
Yeah.
And somebody probably just gave them to him, too.
Yeah, I think he got
the way
some.
It works for Billy. I got to pay for them.
OB, why is Jimbo Fisher such a freaking talking point for every college football writer, columnist, and I'm here for it. I kind of like it, but I'm also annoyed by it because people are taking his rant and saying it was not needed, and and he's got a bigger bullseye in his back. He's in the freaking SEC, brother.
Well, he's been having a bullseye on his back. If you haven't realized it since he's come here, I mean, there's always been some kind of criticism. First, it was his contract. Then it was he hadn't beaten. First of all, you hadn't beaten a good team. Then they beat Kentucky. Well, now you haven't beaten a top 5 team. Well, then he beat Florida, and then you still don't have a signature win. Then he beat Alabama, and there's always something, right? They keep moving the goalposts, and then you're not in the playoff. Well, you should have been. So this is just the latest thing, and that's the way it's going to be portrayed, I think, always here, because, again, it's what I've been saying forever. There's a caste system in college football. A&M is the Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack, the guy that's come into the club, and they don't want him there.
So I'm reading this. I had this column up that I just wanted to bring up. It's talking about the top salaries of 2022. Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 1 seems to be Lincoln Riley, $10+ million at USC. Okay. Has he done anything near what Jimbo Fisher's done?
He's not won a national championship, and every time he's been in the playoff because
he plays.
He's coming out of the Big 12, and then to get spanked.
Okay. Does he have a bigger bullseye on his back? I would think he went to USC. He's getting all these guys from Oklahoma to go there.
I don't think he has a bigger bullseye, and I'll tell you why. Because if you leave Oklahoma for USC, I can rationalize that as a member of the national media because it's USC.
Okay.
But I cannot rationalize. I told everybody there's no way that Jimbo Fisher is leaving Florida State for Texas A&M, and then he did. And then I told everybody that he's going to leave A&M for LSU, and he didn't. And he keeps making me look bad.
Okay. Brian Kelly makes more than Jimbo in 2022, according to this database, $9.5 million. Has he done more than Jimbo Fisher?
He's never won a national championship. He's gotten in the playoff, and he's been spanked every time he's gotten.
Okay. So I wonder if his bullseye is bigger now that he's at LSU, and he's got the top transfer class and all these things that come with. Because Jimbo's got the top recruiting class. Now the bullseye's on him. All right, Nick Saban, number 3. We know he's the GOAT. Oh, my gosh, here's one. I wonder if this is a big bullseye. Mel Tucker, $9.5 million. I bet you that's a huge bullseye.
No, I don't even think people
know who he is.
Well, they know who he is, but I think the national media would like to see Mel Tucker do well. A guy went from Colorado to Michigan State. Okay, I can get that. You know, you're supposed to go from Colorado to Michigan State, and Michigan State's kind of an underdog. So, yeah, we want to see him do well.
All right, a couple other ones I'll just throw out your way. David Shaw this year is going to make $8.9 million. I like David Shaw. I'm just Dabo Sweeney, two-time national champion, $8.3 million. Mario Cristobal at Miami, $8 million this year. Jimbo, according to this, is going to make $7.5 million this particular year. I know it shoots up. I can't imagine how that's correct.
I don't think that's correct.
But that's what it has here. Lane Kiffin, $7.25 million. Kirby Smart, who just won a national championship, $7.13.
Yeah, he's probably getting a raise.
Probably. But I say all that like, we're Brian Kelly's dancing like, Uma Thurman in a video, and, the recruit that went viral with him decided to go to Alabama, and I'm sure partially because this old guy's trying to grind on me. That's not cool. It's never been cool for an old man to grind on a person. Yet
Irma would beg to differ, but go ahead.
Okay. On a young college
kid?
No.
Male?
Not cool.
No.
Not good times. So I say all that like all Jimbo did was support his program, support his integrity, and respond to people coming after them.
Right. That's what he did.
He responded.
But here's what he did. He also pointed out, he said, that there are reputable national writers. Well, I remember when Mike Gundy went on his memorable rant about it's not true, and he called out Jenny Carlson. He didn't say her name, but he talked about how it was not true and it was BS and all this, and the national media do what they did. They circle the wagons and support their own, and they always will. Now, there's always going to be a few outliers. I heard you had Aaron Torres, or on his podcast, I guess he defended Jimbo. But here's what the one I think that's irritated me the most is I hear that Greg McElroy
he was claiming some stuff on ESPN.
Again, if you're going to say someone's cheating, show me the facts. What information do you have to support that?
But we have idiot people on social media.
And by the way, it's your alma mater that's being surpassed in recruiting. And I think you've got a history of kind of like in Texas too, University of.
Yep.
So Greg McElroy, if you're going to say Jimbo Fisher is doing something, and I don't know if he is or not, I tend to take someone at their word till they tell me I can't. So if you're going to make an accusation or an allegation, tell me why, other than, well, they're not supposed to recruit at that level. Because Jimbo Fisher does recruit at that level.
He always has.
Right.
Twice in his career he hasn't, and one was the transition year to A&M.
A&M, right, when he got in here late. And it was the first year, I think it was the first year of the early signing period.
Right.
So he gets in here in December, and they're going to sign in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's so, and it was a big, but regardless, he's done this. And why is it so hard to think he went from 3 to 1? Well, because, like you get this rating every year, and this happens. And Alabama had a history before Nick Saban. Look, the guy is a winner. The guy recruits well, and he recruited the hell out of Houston. End of story. And then a couple guys like, hey, I like what's going on here. Oh, I was on campus when A&M beat Alabama, and we saw the magic of that evening. Oh, how can an 8-4 team do it? Because they had been recruited since the Orange Bowl.
And kids, here's the thing that gets me: kids aren't stupid. Apparently, kids are smarter than the media or some media types, because they understand that there was a backup quarterback in. They get it. They're not dumb.
Well, people don't want that excuse anymore. I read one article. Well, you can't use that excuse anymore.
Why not? Why not? I saw Matt Hayes a couple of years ago. He wrote an article about Willie Taggart, the same article where he was trashing Jimbo Fisher. And I like Matt. We're friends. But Matt Hayes, in the very same article in which he trashed Jimbo Fisher for having a bad year when DeAndre Francois was injured in the first game of the year, so he lost his starting quarterback his last year I think it was his last year at Florida State. And then he talked about how Willie Taggart's only bad year at Oregon was the year he lost his starting quarterback in the same article. So, what they do is they'll have double standards for the guys they like and the guys they don't like.
Yeah. Well, I like Jimbo, and there's no double standard. I like him, and he has done a great job at Texas A&M. And when they hired him, the job was a national championship, and he hasn't gotten there. Okay. By the way, we're going in the right direction, and we're also going against the Michael Jordan of this era in Nick Saban in our division that we play every year. It's not like we're going to the Big 12. If this same A&M team, the last 3 years, even with Zach Calzada last year, played in the Big 12, they're winning the Big 12.
Oh, I think if they'd stayed in the Big 12, they would have won probably 3 or 4.
You haven't won since 98.
I don't care.
We
would win now.
I have Texas fans. I had a Texas fan one time email me, and he said, and I don't know how they get my email address. And they come out of nowhere. Like I hadn't even written. He said, you went to the SEC, haven't won a championship since. And I said, neither of you.
Yep.
Because they haven't won anything since A&M has moved over.
All right, let's talk about Chance McClain, Heritage Films out there. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. They make documentary films. I like to say about your parents. Or maybe you're a parent listening right now or a grandparent listening right now. Like, that would be kind of cool to give my wife, to give my husband. That would be an awesome gift. Think about a documentary film, but not just like iMovie documentary film, right? Like you shoot with your iPhone. Hey, Dad, tell me about that one time you hit a home run at Yankee State. Whatever it may be. Chance will come. He'll bring his crew. They'll interview the source, right? And they're interviewing, in my instance, my father. And they're going to find out all the stories. And one of the cool things that I haven't watched the finished product that he did with my dad, but one of the great things that I learned was that they talked for hours before they got to anything like involving when my brother and I were born. Like none of that. Like it was all the stuff that I lived a lot of it, but I want to know all the stuff. And yes, he's told me, but with time, I forget things, and that's why this video is going to be phenomenal for our family, for my kids, all of them, for their kids later on. I love what Chance is doing with Heritage Films. Check them out at YourHeritageFilm.com, YourHeritageFilm.com. 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. With an easy refinance, save over $350 a month. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Friends of Chamber Music present a groundbreaking harp player, Bridget Kibbe, and violinist Alexi Kinney on Saturday, February 12th at 5 p.m. at A&M United Methodist Church. The program is free and open to the public. The Walk Across Texas Challenge starts Saturday, February 12th. Grab your friends, family, and colleagues and get registered. Visit walkacrosstexas.org to sign up. Mezzo-soprano Dr. Amy Brunt Thompson will be the featured soloist for a Valentine concert Sunday, February 13th at 2 p.m. at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in downtown Bryan. The performance is part of the Plas Recital Series and is free and open to the public. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
French Door Spa and Salon has your Valentine taken care of this year. Book a Sweet Relief or Cupid Special Package. Both include chocolate and champagne. Or the For My Valentine Package, which offers a facial and a massage for one sweet price. And be sure to ask about French Door Spa's Sweet Treat or Sweet Escape Package for the ultimate pampering of your significant other. Can't decide? Don't worry. Gift cards are available in any amount and make the perfect gift. Call French Door Spa to schedule your loved one's Valentine's Day treat today at 696-8992.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Let's bring a Hall of Famer into this conversation, who, when it comes to me, apparently would be petty if he was Tom Brady.
You've been waiting for this the whole morning.
Oh, you know it. Ty Law joins us now. Good morning, Ty. How are you this morning?
Hey, what's going on, Max? I know I wasn't on the show with you, but I had to give it to you, man, because I've been thinking about that since you said that, bro.
Of course. In the story of Tom Brady, I am apparently the motivating force. So there you have it. I'm glad that you came on this show and admitted that, in fact, I have been the most powerful man in football the last several years. Because you said I am the reason he kept playing. Tom Brady, that decided the fate of the Super Bowl. That's right.
Hey, Tom. Hey, he probably, hey, I'm telling you, had something to do with it, Max. So, I mean, we appreciate you, too, for pissing him off.
That's going on my tombstone now. Like, you got to be in my eulogy. I won a Super Bowl, everybody.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening. We've got a bunch of stuff to still get into here in the next couple hours of the show. Let's go to the A&B text line and the News and Social Center. Eric has got some more information for us. Eric?
Yep, David, we are back. Moving on to the best sport in the world. I'm totally kidding, by the way. Track and field, though, had a successful outing this past weekend in Aggieland. The Charlie Thomas Invitational consisted of 6 event winners on both sides of the women and the men. They were at 9 Aggies, sneaking into the top 12 all-time performance list. Some of the winners were notably Cherokee Young, 400-meter, currently number 2 in the country with the 52-second flat personal record, and also the 4x4 anchored by Bowerman Watch List. Brandon Miller with a 304, currently number 4 in the country. The Aggies will send the majority of its team to Albuquerque, New Mexico for the Don Kirby Elite Invitational this weekend, while the mid and long distance groups will travel to Nashville, Tennessee to compete at the Indoor Music City Challenge. That's what I got for you, track and field.
Thank you, sir. What about some text messages for us?
Yeah, so we got Johnny in College Station, says he is just another SEC network Finnbaum home, and he's not Feinbaum. There, excuse me, home, and he's not from Texas. He is from California, transferred to Texas to play high school football. Also,
talking about your boy Greg McElroy.
Yeah, I think he likes the University of Texas for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason he does. One more for you. I think the issue with Jimbo, this is from my 512 area code, is a lot of people just don't particularly like him. It goes back to his days at FSU, and I suspect the whole Winston saga, right or wrong, I think it starts there. I don't know.
Maybe.
We deal with him all the time. Very likable human being.
Yeah. I think whatever happened at Florida State doesn't matter. He's here. He's coaching A&M. He's done everything right here.
Yep.
And I think the vast majority of Aggies support him and appreciate the job he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Obi.
You bet.
Appreciate you. That is the Go Hour here on TexAgs Radio. Coming up, Malcolm Kennedy in studio. Talk about some old times. Talk about some future times here. Tom Hart coming up as well. Mike Lucas, Buzz Williams. All that and more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors. Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, The Sleep Station, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Where's my phone? Where's my internet? What happened to my church? What happened to my house? My phone, my newspaper, my internet, my church, now my house? How did this all happen?
Freedom. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
Download podcast of your favorite shows, Louie, Chip, or TexAgs in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Subscribe and have them downloaded daily for you in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. By the end of the year, there will be 4 new faces on the 7-member Bryan City Council. Before 2 elections take place, the current council is supposed to take action during tomorrow's meeting on new district boundaries. Mayor Andrew Nelson says city staff and outside consultants have been working on new boundaries as a result of population shifts from the 2020 census. The timetable to approve new boundaries was moved up in order to hold a special election following the untimely death of Councilman Flynn Adcock. The new districts will also be in play when 3 new council members are elected this November due to term limits. A sliver of land in Northgate at University in Welborn that was state right-of-way is now in private hands. During the last College Station City Council meeting, there was unanimous approval to allow the Chimmy's owner to develop about a 1/4 acre of land that was acquired next to the restaurant. 2 Republicans are running in the March primary for Texas House District 14. Incumbent John Rainey of Bryan was asked what needs to get done if he's reelected. Rainey said it's critical to continue improvements of workforce training.
Workforce training is the way that we're going to make Texas continue to grow economically. If we don't do it, we're going to fall behind. It's also a way of reducing the cost of health and human services, Medicaid.
Also running for House District 14 is John Harvey Slocum. If elected, he says his priority is to make sure Bryan and College Station grow and develop together.
Economic development would be a priority of mine, and then also getting state government out of our local government. I think that Bryan, College Station both have great governments. I think they have great city councils and school boards, and I think that they are able to govern themselves, and I think that we need to make sure that as a state we don't overgovern our local communities.
To hear these and other candidate interviews, click on the audio tab at WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kitty Castle, Kinder Music, Southwood Learning Center, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road or click WPI.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. It was an up-and-down weekend for Texas A&M hoops. The guys fell short to Missouri Saturday, 70-66. Quentin Jackson and Hayden Hefner each scored 17 points for the Ags, who have now dropped 6 in a row. Meanwhile, the women rallied past Kentucky yesterday, 73-64 in overtime, and Marina White faced a 12-point deficit coming out of the half, but were able to bounce back. Guard Jordan Nixon.
We came out in the third quarter like, okay, we had our little ebb, so let's start to flow. Let's find ourselves. Let's play. Let's have fun, and I think we did that today.
Jordan finished with 16 points, and Kayla Wells collected 20 points and 10 rebounds for the Ags, who improved to 13-9 overall and 3-7 in SEC play. Now to get Coach Gary Blair's take on the weekend, as well as Buzz Williams for the guys, tune into the Coaches Radio shows tonight from 6 to 8 on 1620, 94.5 WTAW. Texas A&M Track and Field wrapped up the Charlie Thomas Invitational Saturday by winning 4 events. 7 Aggies recorded a program all-time top 12 mark. 8th-ranked women's tennis is off to its best start in program history following yesterday's 6-1 demolition of SMU at the George P. Mitchell Tennis Center. Marina White are now 9-0 heading into the ITA Indoor National Championships. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Listening to The Zone on your smart speaker is easy. If Louie can do it, anyone can do it. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Aggie football, basketball, or baseball on your smart speaker. Step 1, and one time only needed, say Enable Zone 1150 Skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it up and say, Enable Zone 1150 Skill. And then listen in anytime just by saying, play Zone 1150.
I was in high school in 92. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Malcolm Kennedy is in studio. We've been planning this for about a month now. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How's everything going?
Good, man. Get you a little closer to the mic there. Happy to have you here in studio, and we were just chit-chatting about some old times, some old interviews here. But let's catch people up with what you've been doing the last few years.
So after I left here, graduated 2014, of course, I spent some time in New Orleans with the Saints, had an injury there, and just decided to kind of use that opportunity to kind of explore the side of life that I've always been working on. That's the passion that I have for helping people. So I ended up moving down to League City where I was training at, and then I got on with the city of Pearland, started working in the Parks and Rec department, and just been slowly moving up from there.
Okay, so what does that mean? Like when you get in the Parks and Rec, take me through that avenue, what that means you're doing today.
So, getting my degree in RPTS from here, Recreational Park and Tourism Science, I wanted to put that to use. So I, like I said, moved there, worked with the city of Pearland, and then I kind of moved into the streets and drainage part of local government. So today, now what I do helping the community is pertaining to engineering, flood-wise, floodway, floodplain, and then just infrastructure, drainage systems, culvert systems. It's really everything, Right. And we do emergency management for events, and we just provide emergency services for the city of Pearland.
You're in town, too, for a conference that's going on, right? And
Yes, sir.
The initial text message was, I want to show some of my colleagues and my boss the special place that Aggieland is.
Yeah, they hear me talk about it all the time, and there's a ton of Aggies. In fact, Trent Epperson is my assistant city manager. He's an Aggie. And we're everywhere in Houston, right? So these guys get to see me bleed maroon all the time. I talk about it all the time. Anytime I'm preaching to my staff, because I'm a supervisor, I use my football days to kind of, and I say, excuse me, but here I go again, using my football days to kind of explain. So everybody here is a ton of Aggieland for me. So to have the opportunity to come back and then show my guys that I work with how special it is and why I go so hard for Aggieland, I think they'd be happy to understand.
All right, so I graduated from here in 99, and I came back in 05 to do some work, and then I left, and I've come back here in the past year. Every time I come here, it's a different freaking city. So for you,
yes,
like I don't know how often you make it out here. How different does it look?
I almost had to use my GPS around here. I was like, this place is blown up. And of course, when we joined the SEC in 2012, now working with a city, I can understand how council members or however the local government is ran here. They were probably super excited for the growth and the economic growth that A&M was getting ready to go through, being a part of the SEC. So being back and seeing how much it's grown, man, it's mind-blowing. And I've only been back maybe about 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, seeing it now, it's so much more to do. I know students are probably happy, and we continue to bring in that large amount of students every year. It's unreal.
Well, and you have an agenda, like you want to show them Aggieland, but also take them to some like hidden treats that, like, you mentioned a couple places you want to go eat. You want to show them all that is in this great Brazos Valley.
Yes, sir. It's the culture, and it's not just College Station. It's Bryan and what the Twin Cities have to offer for everybody that comes here. And everybody should understand that coming to Aggieland, it's a mecca. The moniker is true. All roads lead to Aggieland. And with this being right here where it is in the Brazos Valley, Central Texas, almost equidistant from every major city in Texas, it's the place to be. And, I hope to show them a great time so they can continue to bring their families if they want to, or, just come down and hang out, see a game. And I plan to do that more in the future as well.
So let's talk about your experience in the NFL. The Saints, did you have any stops elsewhere?
That was all.
Okay, the Saints. How was that?
Yes, sir. It was awesome, man. A lot of people don't know, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, hopefully. I got there, started training, working out. We were staying in a hotel right across from the airport. That's how it is. Undrafted free agent, not a lot of promises. You just got to get in, put your nose down and work. And it was an honor playing with Drew Brees. He threw me a couple passes. That was awesome, seeing the way he worked. And I was well on my way to earning a starting position. And it felt like Aggie land all over again, coming in from a small school. Nobody knows you. You got to prove your point. And I was getting there. I injured my foot rookie training camp. And from that point, I knew, all right, man, it's going to be a business decision for the team. So they released me. But they did tell me, Kai Harley, I'll never forget, I was in the training room with Scotty, and he said, hey, if you're not picked up by this time next year, which I'm sure you will be, we'll give you a call. And they kept their word and gave me a call. Unfortunately, I had re-injured my foot, and I needed more time to train to get back. So that's kind of when I had that epiphany, and I was like, hey, man, let me try something different. Let me take what I've learned and apply it to real life. So
how about getting to know Sean Payton and Drew Brees? You mentioned Drew a little bit, but like when you're talking to him, you're like, man, this is like, was he legendary status at that point? I mean, he had already won a Super Bowl. Like, did you know you were talking to a legend?
He was super legendary in the fact that seeing him without his pads on, right? Everybody sees, for the most part, the football players with the helmet, the pads on. Yeah, big guy, the man in New Orleans. But, he came in the training room one time. I was like, man, this guy's a regular dude, but he has the heart of a lion, Yeah. Every time we got down to the 10, 5-yard line and he threw a pass, he would run sprints back and forth, and everybody's like, what's this guy doing? But, it's that type of leader in the team. And Sean Payton was the same. Very fierce, very loyal to his players. Players like me that, nobody thought, hey, this guy can make it here. He gave me a chance and a second chance, and I appreciate that.
That's such a great experience. How so we mentioned coming back here to Aggieland. How much are you paying attention to the monster that Jimbo's building across the street? And I'm not just talking about facilities. I'm talking about that team.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Coach Fisher. He's doing great. And it's hard, man. One thing that I've seen, especially since I've graduated, is how hard it is to take the minds of young men and prepare them for real life in our environment that we live in today with social media, with all these outside distractions. It's tough, man. It's tough. And not having the leeway to be that hard coach like, back in the day. Right. You have to kind of, you got to be a player's coach. You have to understand what the guys are going through outside of football. So, man, with what he's doing and what he has, man, he's doing a great job. And I'm ready to see what next year brings.
You look at what they've gone through, and just this is all of college football, but I'll make it more hit at home. Mm-hmm. Jimbo, since July, has seen SEC expansion with Texas and Oklahoma. That was supposed to be the death of A&M.
Yes.
A starting quarterback going down in week 2. The victory over Alabama, the number one, recruiting class in the country. Like it's just the big extension. Like it has just been a crazy year, and A&M's always in the middle of the news.
Yeah. I mean, we have it, man. Here we have it, and we've always known that since we were TU's little brother, right? Mm-hmm. Since you can go to Walmart and get a Texas University shirt. Well, now Aggies are everywhere, right? So, with us being to have that potential and actually having the talent all the time, and with Jimbo working how he is now, I mean, the sky's the limit for the team. And, beating Alabama, doing those things, we just got to be more consistent on the front of, hey, every week we can come out and win. It doesn't matter who we're playing. And I was happy to see them beat Alabama again. That way the guys can know, hey, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're A&M.
Yeah.
Teams should be worried about us. They should be afraid of us. So,
Malcolm Kennedy in studio with us here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, so to me, it feels like that first year in the SEC was not about to be 10 years. It feels like maybe 3, 4, 5. Yeah. It's 10 years, man. Like, I know you've been out in the workforce, so maybe for you, but like for somebody who's been watching Aggie football his whole life, it just seems like, holy cow.
Yeah. So time just flew by, man. And that's what makes these visits and coming back so special is that, you look back from my standpoint and say, hey, man, I often ask myself the question, hey, what could I have done to be a better teammate or to be a better player or to put our team in position to win more games? And, I left everything out on the field when I was there. And, looking back, it's one of those things where, you become more appreciative as time goes on. So these 10 years, dude, they've flown by, and I'm so proud and happy of the changes that this university has made to continue to grow not only as a school or a football program, but just, as a school, period.
Right. And let's go back to that 2012 season, so special. And there's different storylines we can tackle from the emergence of Johnny, Mike, and all. There's so many different things. But your game winner. All right. So this year, we beat Alabama at Kyle Field. So when that happened, did it take you back to your moment against the defending national champions, Alabama?
Man, it kind of did, but this may sound funny coming from me, but I was happy that people could no longer say, "Oh, the last time the Aggies beat." My moment, big moments are made to be wiped out by other big moments, right? Records are made to be broken. I was so happy to see that the Aggies could come back and beat Alabama again. And we've had other opportunities to do the same, but, going back to that moment, and thinking about it, it was awesome for me, but that was a huge victory in the sense that the Aggies could wipe that moment out.
All right, so people forget there was still a lot of time on the clock. The defense had to step up, right? I think there was like 6.5 minutes left.
Sir.
But take me through the play from what you remember, because, dude, I remember like flag football touchdowns. I know you remember everything about that play.
Man, so Coach David Beatty was our receivers coach at that time. Coach Sumlin, of course, was the head coach, and man, they gave the play call. Johnny made the play call, and my route was called an 8 route. It was the corner route. D. Milner standing about 10, 12 yards back, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, this guy's top draft pick, and he's solid. And all I could remember was get him off of his spot. So I ran at him. I made a move like I was going inside to the post, came back outside and looked over my shoulder, and no way did I expect the ball to be there. But it was flying, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And I caught it, and when I caught it, if you look at it, I kind of bobbled it a little bit because it was wobbly, and I stabilized it, caught it, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And I'm looking for a penalty flag, something. Uzoma Wachiku comes flying out of nowhere. And I'm like, and it becomes reality, and man, dude, that moment was so special to me. I'll never forget it.
Didn't Easy go on The Bachelor or something? He did something.
He did. I saw. Yes, I did see that, and that's not surprising to me because Easy is a character, man. He was when I came here. He actually was my host when I was being recruited, and man, I've loved that dude since that day, man. He's awesome.
I got to know him a little bit when he was with the Texans. I was covering the Texans. Such a good
he's
guy.
A character, man.
So all right, let's again revisionist history. When did it click like this Johnny guy is somebody different? Like, was it the Florida game? Was it after? Was it during camp?
There you go. It was training camp. Jamil Showers was up. And, of course, the great Ryan Tannehill had just left. Man, that guy was awesome too. But we were in camp right here on the Coolidge practice fields, and Johnny just continued. At first, it kind of started off like, man, what's he doing? This is not how you do it, man.
Right.
But then it just became something, and we were able to make an offense that was based around him, and we had a scramble drill, right? Wherever we were on the field, we knew where our spots were supposed to be. And once I saw how him being so unpredictable was great for the team, oh, man, the coach said, hey, you're the starter, let's go with it. And the guy just never failed to amaze everybody,
I know everybody listening is going to agree with me here, but had they had the playoffs in 2012, you guys were the national champions, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were there. We were there. And, with a guy like Johnny leading us, man, who knows what would have happened, right? Exciting football. I think we would have been there if they had the playoffs then.
Yeah, that season was there. Nobody was playing better than you guys at the end. All right, so what about the job? When did it click that Mike Evans, because he kind of emerged the following season, but he had a big year that year as well. When did it click like, dude, this guy is like legit first-round NFL future Hall of Famer Mike Evans?
Man, so Mike, of course, and a lot of people may not know this, Mike and Johnny both came in redshirted. Mm-hmm. Man, after that, we gave him a little bit of time to just fine-tune those football skills. He's a basketball player, right? Mm-hmm. And so they saw that and was like, okay, let's see how we use this guy, kind of like a Jeff Fuller in the past. Man, once Mike mastered route running, he was a bully type wide receiver. He'd push DBs out, and so nobody could hold him. So once we saw that, you just throw the ball up to him. It doesn't matter. Just throw it up to him. He's got speed, he's got hands, he's got power, and then he's got the attitude. So, I mean, once we saw that, we knew that Mike would be, and it was up to him, right? We never knew if he really wanted to be the baller, right? Because he was silent. He didn't talk a lot. So we didn't know if he wanted to go to the NFL or, hey, what was this guy's path? But once he set his mind to that, there was no stopping him.
Malcolm Kennedy here with us, sir, for a few more moments. So when you watch him on Sundays and win the Super Bowl and, you know, the Hall of Fame numbers that he has put up, like, I don't want to say it's shocking because it's not. We all saw it. But at the same time, I think it's sometimes shocking to see how the world has caught on to Mike.
It is. It's surprising because, you know, knowing Mike and, you know, kind of watching him grow up, you know, through the years at A&M, it's really interesting. You know, Mike was always quiet. Like I said, he was a hard worker. But once he got to the league and started doing the same, I was like, okay, here it is all over again. And it was funny because I was so happy for him because he was excited to have the opportunity to actually play in the league that Tom Brady played in. He would always do the Randy Moss celebration, right? And so once Tom Brady came to the Bucs, I was like, man, dude, I'm so happy for Mike. And, you know, he's capitalized on that.
Who do you keep in touch with from the 2012 team, or through your time here, I should say, through 2014?
So I don't talk to many other guys just because I like to I just like to watch.
You're not a social media guy, right?
Yeah, no social media. I just like to watch, man. I enjoy watching good football. Now, when we come back and we do events, you know.
It's all love.
Yes, it's all love, man. We see each other. I ran into Vaughn a couple of times. He's the same guy. So it's just fun to watch those guys.
Well,
you know?
let's give Vaughn his due because this guy's potentially going to win his next Super Bowl. Already been a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
That guy at the highest level. Also, Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So cool story. When I first got here, you know, I'm a freshman from a redshirt freshman from a 1A school. You know, I'm still learning my way, right? So our defense had this look where the jack, which was Vaughn's position, would come out and kind of jam and mess with the inside receiver before his route. So he'd tell me every time, hey, man, I'm going to mess with you here. And, dude, I'd be so nervous, but I couldn't show it to him. But, man, he'd jack me up and then run inside. And just watching him throughout the years, man, I never realized how cold this guy was until we played LSU in the Cotton Bowl. And, man, I seen him make a tackle dance like he was on Dancing with the Stars and made the sack after that. So I was like, all right, man, this guy's real.
Yeah, he's
real.
He's so much fun to watch.
Yes.
And one final thing from those old days, Coach Sumlin, I don't know if you saw, will be in your backyard as the head coach of the Houston Gamblers. What do you think about all that?
It's cool, man. Coach Sumlin, he's an exciting guy, you know. He's always got something up his sleeve, right? He's prepared, and that's why he's made the moves that he's made. He was a player's coach when he was here. He did a lot to make us more comfortable so that we could win games. Changed a lot of things, and he really brought the Ag swag, which was kind of what we went with 2012. It really put us on the map. So it'd be good to see him, you know, back in Houston. I know he's been there before, so he'll do some good things with that team.
A thought on that, too. I think he captured that moment, right? So, like, since then, I think it's jumped the shark, right? But at that moment, it was fresh, it was new, and it really helped put the image, the power soundtrack, coming onto Kyle Field, all that good stuff. He helped kind of be the leader, the face of that.
Yes, sir. The fireworks, the pyrotechnics. I don't know if you guys remember it, or if they still even fly it. The swag copter, you know, landing on that. You know, that was when social media was still kind of building up to its pinnacle to where it is now. And you know, Coach Sumlin took advantage of that, and he was before a lot of coaches that are now doing these things. So it was cool to see that and be a part of it, and just changing everything in College Station.
All right, you going to come back to studio soon?
Yes, sir.
Get you back maybe during the season, come hang out with us?
Yes, sir, whenever I'm invited.
All right, my man. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Malcolm Kennedy here with us on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, an open segment. I see some text messages coming in from Malcolm. Dan76 says, welcome home. Thank you very much, sir. So we'll get into some more stuff, your text messages, and an open segment next on TexAgs.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Bryan College Station Chamber of Commerce is hosting a local candidates forum on Wednesday from 6 to 8 at the Brazos Center. If you can't attend in person, you can listen to it on 1620 94.5 WTAW or stream it at RadioAggieland.com. Kids ages 5 to 16 can sign up to play baseball at BryanNationalLittleLeague.com. The deadline to sign up is Friday, February 11th. The Bryan Animal Center is hosting a free microchip and rabies vaccination event on Saturday, February 12th from 8 a.m. to noon at Tiffany Park. Pets must reside in the city limits of Bryan. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
The love that I have for Texas A&M is just feeling so much a part of the school, feeling like there's always people there to support you, that you've got a friend no matter what.
I'd want to give a student the chance to do something they want to do. And the association, I know, gave a lot of my friends the ability to go forward and to actually pick the major they wanted, do the studies they wanted to do.
When I started thinking about college, I had one goal in mind, and that was my parents will not pay for my schooling.
There's a lot of kids out there who are going to make good Aggies, and we ought to give them a chance. And I'm willing to put my share in to try to help them.
Of all of our traditions that are well known, the one that sometimes gets passed over and just taken for granted is perhaps the greatest, and that's Aggies helping Aggies.
To learn more about the association's impact or to make a gift, visit tx.ag/giving.
It's our final lunch with Louie this Friday at the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln. You stop by between 11 and 2, get a free lunch from Hungry Howie's, guaranteed to win a great prize, and, well, you could say hi to me or Bryce Jones. It's Lunch with Louie, the final one, at the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln this Friday from 11 to 2. Stop by for a free lunch from Hungry Howie's, win a great prize, stop by and say hi. It's Lunch with Louie this Friday.
All right, TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. What a great conversation with Malcolm Kennedy. Appreciate him making some time to hang out with us. Really good insight to those 2012, 2013, 2014 days. I forgot how many legends he played from like different parts of Texas A&M football. Just a good conversation. His boss is in town, so he brought him into the studio. They took some pictures. Good stuff there. Appreciate all that good stuff. Let's go to the News and Social Center there. We've got Eric who's got more for us. Eric?
Yeah, so William in Fort Worth said, would you guys please comment on the Gittens transfer? Of course, he's talking about Tyra Gittens. She just transferred to UT, or TU as they like to call it here. He said, I appreciate very much that she has mentored our program, but transferring to TU doesn't sit well with me. Do we know the story here? We need to start playing TU again so the younger Ags can learn to hate the Sips as much as most Aggies do. Thanks, TexAgs.
Yeah, look, I don't know much about the story. I've read stuff and I've heard rumors and whatnot. I'll just say this. It's never going to be okay to leave A&M for Texas. I don't care. Like, grad school, whatever. Like, I don't, maybe grad school. I don't even know. Like, it just, like, that's a hard one to understand. And I don't know if she's got some bad people in her ear. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to comment. I can comment on this. You don't leave A&M for Texas, especially when you've done so many great things in your career. I know that Coach Henry is very proud of the fact that he graduated her and that she's leaving as an Aggie. But going to Texas will not sit well with me, and I don't think it sits well with anybody out there. And I know it's happened before, but like that's just not what you do. especially for a university that took care of you.
Well, I knew she had an extra year of eligibility, so this is for sure her last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's going to try to go pro, but I haven't talked to her about the situation. I just know that it was just really sudden when it happened. So
yeah, unfortunate to say the least, but move on. All right, just know that it's going to be different. It's going to be cold at Thanksgiving dinner. It's not going to feel the same. It's just unfortunately that's just what happens when you do that.
And that Texas dual meet will be happening in, I think it's the first week of April 2nd, April 3rd. So that's going to bring in some attention there for the track and field team.
Now, Eric, if you walk in there you give the shoulder, we're going to have some words. You can't be doing that. No fighting. I know. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's in Aggie land too, so that crowd's going to be popping.
Yeah. It's who's the Dodger that kept on getting hurt every time? No, it wasn't. It was Mike Fiers of the Oakland A's. Every time that we were supposed to play the Astros, Mike Fiers was injured. I wonder what will happen there.
We'll see
when that happens. All right, a couple other things to get into. We're going to have Tom Hart here, and he was at the Alabama-Kentucky game this past weekend, so we'll chit-chat a little bit with him about that, what's up with Aggie Hoops. And also, I want to get a national perspective from a guy who I think gets A&M. I think Tom Hart's got some great intel when it comes to A&M, but why some people are so salty with our program. Is it because they don't want us to join the Blue Bloods, but they're all excited about, USC might be back and Miami might be back? A&M's here, and you're going to have to deal with us for a long, long time. And so we'll get into that without a doubt. But unfortunately, though, these types of, when you're good, and I know 8-4 is not good, so I say that. I don't need to keep prefacing that, but when you are a national contender, and that's what A&M is, especially with that recruiting class and the past few recruiting classes. And you beat Alabama, and you just continue to, the SEC expansion was supposed to be the end of A&M. That's it. You're not going to be able to win anymore. Bro, we did, all right? And deal with it. Right now, I want to talk about Christine Engler, the Aggie Loan Expert. Check out the website, aggieloanexpert.com. Such an awesome, awesome experience. A lot of you are trying to buy a home. Or thinking about buying a home, you're thinking, those rates are great. Well, yeah, they're great. How about you go somewhere that's going to close you quickly and also give you some great rates and have great customer service? That is what Christine Engler's been doing for a long, long time. Class of 1997. Her husband also an Aggie. They love A&M. They've got great Google reviews. Check out what they're saying about Christine on there. You can Google it for yourself, but here's the one that I like to read. Christine and her team are efficient, detailed, and friendly. They make the mortgage process smooth and easy for clients. And they've got the VA loan product called the Hero Loan that they're taking care of our vets. Her team has the highest delegation from the VA and underwrite everything there in-house. Go to aggieloanexpert.com, and they can close that loan in as little as 14 days and pay for the appraisal. That is big time there from Christine Engler and the great crew there at aggieloanexpert.com. Again, that website, aggieloanexpert.com.
The show sounds different, but it's still TexAgs. It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuño on the Zone.
So you're thinking about a new job. Better update your resume. Better text that friend of a friend who works in HR. Or, better idea, you go to thenewmonster.com. Peruse millions of jobs, thousands of words of career advice. Now you're not just thinking about a new job, you are applying for it, interviewing for it, bragging before you even get it, investing in khakis. Good for you. Good for the world. Good way to find a new job. Go to thenewmonster.com or download our app today.
Voting is serious business, and I want to discuss some serious business about voting for me, Gabriel Garcia. I'm running for re-election as your Brazos County District Clerk, and I've made a number of changes since assuming the job, including improved court processes, transitioning the office to paperless, improved supervision of deputy clerks, better communication with court coordinators, and all Brazos County departments. I have a proven record of success as your Brazos County District Clerk. Re-elect me, Gabriel Garcia.
Paid for by Gabriel Garcia Campaign, Pet Septic Treasurer.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Blue Baker, Lena Salon, Awards and More, Dirt Road Rustics, and Game Exchange. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Gulf States Toyota, Cherry Rafino with Coldwell Banker Apex Realty, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Let's bring a Hall of Famer into this conversation, who, when it comes to me, apparently would be petty if he was Tom Brady.
You've been waiting for this the whole morning.
Oh, you know it. Ty Law joins us now. Good morning, Ty. How are you this morning?
Hey, what's going on, Max? I know I wasn't on the show with you, but I had to give it to you, man, because I've been thinking about that since you said that, bro.
Of course. In the story of Tom Brady, I am apparently the motivating force. So there you have it. I'm glad that you came on this show and admitted that, in fact, I have been the most powerful man in football the last several years, because you said I am the reason he kept playing. Tom Brady, that decided the fate of the Super Bowl. That's right.
Hey, Ty.
Hey, he probably. Hey, I'm telling you, had something to do with it, Max. So I mean, we appreciate you too for pissing him off.
That's going on my tombstone now. Like, you gotta be in my eulogy. I won a Super Bowl, everybody.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Kind of like a club in 2005 Dallas at the W Hotel, not at the Roxbury. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, we go to the BCSI hotline. Tom Hart laughing because he's been to that club.
Was that your sweet spot? Is that
there
we peeling the curtain back a little bit?
Maybe back in the day, I used to go to the Candle Room in Dallas. I'm just saying, maybe a couple times.
What was your attire back then? Like, what are you rocking when you go out?
We're talking a long time ago. I'm saying 02. Maybe it had a little bit of a rayon silk kind of vibe to it, with some 7 jeans and, my hair kind of messy going in all directions. You see that.
The 7 jeans. I love it. Maybe even a flap on the back pocket with a big buckle.
Maybe. Yeah. The funny part, Tom, this is like, I know I'm old. I still have those 7 jeans. They were $200. I'm going to wear those the rest of in fact, I might be wearing them now. So there you go. Hey,
you can't give them up. Those are not going to Goodwill. That's just, you got too much invested in them.
No, I haven't bought jeans in 20 years. I'm keeping these bad boys. Hey, I wanted to get you on the show and talk a little bit about Jimbo, because not only of the great stuff he's doing, but he has become, I think, polarizing to those who don't know him or love him the way we do here in Aggieland. Like, I thought what he did last week, the press conference, was awesome. He defended A&M. He went after people who went after him. But I don't feel like it's playing out that way with the national media.
No, I think you're right. I think college football coaches can be like politicians. They're at their best when they're speaking to their base. And their base, right? Where does that word come from? Their fan base shouldn't, but doesn't really care what other people think. We don't care about outside influences. We just want him to speak to us and make sure that we're invested for the right reasons. What I thought was interesting about this perspective of, are you putting together financial incentives through NIL deals to appeal to your incoming class, right? That can be defined a lot of different ways. And part of that is perfectly above board and legal. And another aspect goes against what the rules should be. But however you define it, or however it's being used by college teams, what has come up, before this happened, everyone said, was this going to be a problem in the locker room? And it was dismissed because I think a right guard knows the value of the star quarterback, and that, listen, that guy's going to make more than I am. An average outside linebacker, or is he going to get paid as much as the superstar on the defensive end who's going to be a first round pick? I think everybody gets that. What this has opened my eyes to, though, is this new contrast in, hold on a second. If the incoming recruits are getting X, if they're promised through NIL deals, above the board, all of that stuff. We're doing it right. But those guys are promised X, and they haven't produced yet. And I put together an all-conference caliber season. I didn't get that when I was coming in. Where's mine? And even if it's just perceived, right? Even if they're not getting it, but it's rumored or it's perceived, then you've got friction, and that's where management comes in. And I think to an extent that was part of Jimbo's message, right? Coaches always send message both outside and inside their own walls. And it was, hey, listen, don't worry about what you're hearing because that's not how we're doing it. And part of that goes to the guys that are already in uniform that had great seasons that might be thinking, wait a second, why is that dude who's never played a down of SEC football getting more than me? And I'm out here busting my butt every day in mat drills. And I've been through 2 seasons or been through a season and a half, whatever it might be. So that's when I hear coaches speak about that, I kind of look between the lines. What are we really talking about? And I think that might be an aspect here.
Well, and I think the tipping point too, though, is the fact that there's this message board report that A&M is spending $30 to $40 million on their recruits. But it started on a message board, became hot fire on social media. Journalists started using that information, and now it's like a talking point, like, yeah, A&M spent $30 to $40 million. And if they did, don't you think DeMarvin Leal would have stayed an extra year because he's proven? Don't you think Kenyon Green would have stayed an extra year? Isaiah, you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, for sure. And listen, what you're speaking of speaks to a larger problem when it comes to consumers, whether that's fans, recruits, their families, whomever, being able to process and I'm not asking everybody to fact check everything, but process the news properly. For journalists to throw out there, it's been reported just because somebody repeated a message board rumor. That's half of what Brian Harsin and his camp are having to deal with at Auburn right now. You throw something up on a message board and then it gains traction only because it gets repeated. What's that old saying? I don't know if it was Mark Twain, a lie travels halfway around the world before the truth puts its pants on. Like it travels fast, man. It gets out there, the speed of light, especially with social media these days. And it is, I tell you what, I'll be perfectly honest. My Twitter feed looks drastically different now because when I see quote unquote journalists repeating stuff, that's an automatic block for me. Like you don't have, that's not factual. You don't have proof of that. You're just throwing it out there to get clicks and attention. I don't need to see you on my timeline anymore. And I would encourage fans, recruits, families, know who you're listening to, know who's coming up on your timeline. And if they've proven to be false or there's no backing behind what they're saying, just block them, mute them, get them out of your life because they can't be trusted.
Tom, one more on that point. I think it's also interesting that A&M has now, I think the reason they're involved in for a whole year, like they're in everybody's dialogue, is that they've arrived and they've got the national attention of not only media, fans, but these programs.
100%. And they knew this was coming with Jimbo, right? It's a little bit different than, in fact, it's a lot different than when Hugh Freeze came through Ole Miss and overnight put together the number 1 recruiting class in the country. That got a lot of the establishment really upset. Well, wait a second, this dude must be doing it below board and proven to be after the fact, because you don't just roll in. Jimbo's got a national championship. He's got the credentials. He's got the bona fides. He's come up the right way. And we knew when he took this job that this was going to come, that eventually the recruiting was going to get to a point to support a championship program. So, listen, all the coaches in the division, all the coaches in the conference, other top 25 coaches, they knew what A&M was building. And there's no hiding from the fact that this is a well-funded program, right? I mean, and to me, that's the selling point is Jimbo could have flipped that despite the rumors of the $30 million or whatever it was. Ignore that aspect of it. But he could have said, listen, everybody's jealous because football is important here. Everybody's talking junk about us because we've got a fan base that believes in our program and wants to invest in it. To me, that's a good thing. And at some point you wrap your arms around it and you say, yeah, this is a big deal. In many ways, the same way coaches use salaries against each other, I remember when Barry Odom was at Missouri and he was making, I think, $2.5 to $3 million, and other coaches would recruit against Missouri and say, "You're going to go there? They don't invest in football. They've got the lowest paid coach in the league. Do you think they care about football there? They can't even pay their coach half of what our guy is making." That's the reality on the recruiting trail.
Well, and I think it's also interesting that Alabama, Nick Saban bragged initially about what Bryce Young was going to make. Lane Kiffin has one of the best transfer classes. I'm sure NIL didn't play a part in all of that. I mean, God forbid they used any of their NIL there. Let's move on to the situation at Auburn that you alluded to a moment ago. Man, again, kind of like A&M, I don't know what to believe. I just know that regardless of what happens there, that program is in a weird spot.
Did you ever have gerbils as a kid? Did you ever have any friends that had gerbils as a pet? Okay, one of the things that happened, well, at least in our family, that happens with gerbils is if the mom gets pregnant and has a litter, whatever you call it, it's not uncommon if you don't keep an eye on it for them to eat their young. Oh, wow. So you come back from school as a third grader, you go check on your gerbils. Hey, how they do it? Oh, God, it's the nastiest, ugliest thing ever. At Auburn, they eat their young. They don't care. The power structure there has gotten so inverted. When the AD made this hire, he tried to hold that power structure in check, right? And he tried to say, listen, boosters aren't making us hire. The athletic department is making us hire. And then it obviously backfired on them the way Auburn finished their season. And now power has reverted back. I mean, it's not uncommon at other places. These are boosters that go on a hunting trip in the summer and they take all the former coaches with them and they hang out and they sip some bourbon around the campfire and they figure out how they're going to fix the program. And more often than not, they're not educated enough of the day-to-day to make the right decisions and then get the right person in place. And that's how you end up with this. I don't know what's going to happen with Brian Harsin. I think it's going to be really hard for him to grab any momentum if he does remain the head coach there. But it certainly seems like all the factions, from the outgoing president to the folks who write the big checks, like the goofy checks that like Happy Gilmore got, the guys that write those checks want him gone. And that's a tough faction to beat.
Yeah, that is so tough. I do want to move on to Miami because A&M's going to play Miami the next 2 years. This year at Kyle Field, next year in Miami. They're adding a nice little staff. They're putting together some stuff. I don't know if you paid attention, Tom, but Cristobal has done a nice job getting a staff together.
He's done a great job. And if the rumors, I should say reports, because it was a reputable journalist put out there, out of Michigan are correct, that Gaddis felt unwanted and unloved there and unappreciated, and bounces to Miami. That's a big loss for Harbaugh. That's a big get for Miami and for what Mario's putting together. I still think they got a long way to go, right? I mean, to me, it's, I'm from the show me state, right? So Miami, you got to show me. You got to put it together consistently. That doesn't mean that they couldn't be the best team on the field on one given Saturday, but it takes a while to build. I think Jimbo's a good example of that, right? I mean, like it takes a while to build, no matter what your bona fides are coming in, to get everything pulling in the right direction.
Tom, A&M basketball, man. I know you had them last week. I think it was the Tennessee game, if I remember correctly. Am I right about that, Tennessee? This is a team that just – I mean, there was reason to believe that they could potentially make the tournament, but it's been 6 straight losses of a couple of possessions. When you watch them, what do you see?
Well, we've talked about them, the last few weeks, and when we first kind of got into basketball, I viewed them as a cautionary tale. They were, I think, 14-2, but if you go back and you break down who those wins came against and the quality of that schedule, it just didn't hold up to other teams that had a similar record. So, Buzz has them playing good defense generally, but some of those defensive breakdowns by guys getting out of position cost them against Missouri. It's a Missouri team that has been really, if you look at the bottom half of the league, there's a logjam kind of in the middle, but the teams below that, their biggest issue is consistency. Missouri, Ole Miss come to mind. Arkansas was there. Now they've rattled off 8 straight, and they've got Auburn coming to town tomorrow night. So if you take an inconsistent team, and because of your traps and pressure, you leave a guy open, and Trevor Brazile ends up with point blank looks at the rim, then you allow them to become more consistent. That has only happened a couple of times with Missouri. So they play hard. They shoot well. Wade Taylor really impressed me at Tennessee. They shoot well in streaks. It's been a decent 3-point percentage, but they're going to be a 2-point team. Break you down off the dribble, get mid-range. Buzz still believes in the mid-range. And they just haven't shot the ball well. They haven't been consistent enough in that regard.
Let's last thing for you, the Kentucky-Bama game. Just the two programs that, I think Kentucky's figured it out. Alabama, I don't know what team you're going to get each week.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the inconsistency. The hardest part to me, Nate Oates built a program in Alabama that's built on the 3 rim twos and then getting to the free throw line. They're a bad 3-point shooting team. I mean, they're less than 33%, which tells you that's not an efficient team. Right? You got to be above 33% at the very least. They've been great in years past. They went 3 for 30 from 3. 3 for 30. It was like, and Kentucky didn't shoot the ball well either. It was like two drunks fighting in the alley. Like they're taking swings at each other. They can't miss, and then they just fall down and get bruised and bloodied anyway. It's like walking down Bottle Cap Alley on your hands and knees. It was ugly. Alabama still has the potential. They've got great wins. Gonzaga, Houston, Baylor. I mean, those are 3 of the best wins in the country. So they still have the ability to shoot their way into a win, an upset win, but it's just they don't have the consistency there because their guard play has been up and down this year.
Tom, we appreciate you, sir. Talk to you soon.
All right, great to see you.
Great seeing you, man. Get you some 7 jeans here and put them in the mail, all right? Yeah, all right, guys. When we come back, around Aggieland with our good buddy Richard Zane. We'll chit-chat with him. But right now, Milliken Reserve Farm-to-Table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got wide-open spaces. Drive by it all the time when I'm going down Wellborn, just going, just the back way to get to 6 on the way to wherever you may be going, 105 or Navasota or whatnot. A wonderful community. If you're talking about living in have a big lot, acreage homes, and having awesome new homes, you got the old school look, you got the new school look, modern, whatever. They got it all there. They've got the 30 miles of trails. They've got the wide open spaces, a network of trails throughout the wooded landscape. It's just beautiful. The creeks, the ponds, the equestrian paths, just a really nice community that you can go hang out. You can go live. You can do whatever, right? It's just awesome out there. The kayaking, the equestrian trails, the evening yoga, the summer camps, the hiking, the biking, all the good stuff. You should check them out online right now. MillikenReserve.com. That is MillikenReserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. With an easy refinance, save over $350 a month. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Friends of Chamber Music present a groundbreaking harp player, Bridget Kibbe, and violinist Alexi Kinney on Saturday, February 12th at 5 p.m. at A&M United Methodist Church. The program is free and open to the public. The Walk Across Texas Challenge starts Saturday, February 12th. Grab your friends, family, and colleagues and get registered. Visit walkacrosstexas.org to sign up. Mezzo-soprano Dr. Amy Brunt Thompson will be the featured soloist for a Valentine concert Sunday, February 13th at 2 p.m. at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in downtown Bryan. The performance is part of the Plas Recital Series and is free and open to the public. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, what makes Rollo unique when dealing with small businesses?
Well, we're a business ourselves, and we grew from a notepad to 16 locations. And when you come from the perspective